Welcome to the Rhino Conspiracy. I'm your host, Scott Rhino. You may know me from the Morning Extra on Xtra 106.3 in Atlanta. We are Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, and we're going to be the only ones that talk about what we are talking about today, and that is TransTerror, a domestic terrorist who yesterday went to a Presbyterian school and shot innocent people. On the screen, you'll see some of the victims. Their families released photos of them. Catherine Kuntz, Mike Hill, Haley Scruggs, and Evelyn Dykehouse. These are some of the victims. It doesn't matter whether they were religious. It doesn't matter if they were Republicans. It doesn't matter if they were Democrats. It doesn't matter the color of their skin or who they were sleeping with. It matters that these are Americans. There are people to blame for this, and it's so easy to blame who the shooter was, even though the shooter didn't know who they were. And that is the issue at hand. This is not about guns. This isn't about an AR-15. This isn't about anything except for a mental health crisis that we are facing here in this country. We can talk about the school doors being locked. They were. The shooter decided to shoot out the windows and the doors so they could get through the security. They had a plan. They wrote a plan. They drew maps. They knew the school. Get ready, because you're going to hear a lot from this story. You're going to hear about the manifesto that she, and I'm going to use the correct pronouns. I guess they're pronouns still. I'm going to use the correct pronouns for this biological female. I am one of those people who will have respect for your pronouns as long as I can make sense of them. If I can't make sense of them, that's fine, because I will always show you respect. But when you have no respect for the life of these victims, the 3 children and the 3 staff members that were murdered in cold blood, then I have no respect for your pronouns. I will not call you by the name that you chose. I will not call you by the pronouns that you chose or whatever gender that you are identifying with at the time. You have a mental health problem. I am an ally of the LGBT community. I find many great members of that community and have been an ally for a long time. I have no problem if you display your flag. I have no problem if you want to spend the rest of your life with someone of the same sex. I do have a problem when you make it a political issue and you try to bring it into my school or into my life. And that's what happened. I am going to warn you, I am going to show you some pictures, just one picture, because I think it's important that we see this picture. So if you have a weak stomach, and this isn't bloody, this isn't gory, but this is reality. And this is exactly what should happen to every school shooter as soon as they are confronted. This here is Audrey Hale. Audrey Hale is a biological female. Audrey Hale wants you to think their name is Aiden. Your name is Audrey Hale, and you are a female. She decided that she had enough. I want you to understand that there was a suicide note from this person. She decided to write a suicide note, and it is a manifesto. She has talked on social media, even though it's been scrubbed, about being suicidal. This is the mental health crisis that we're facing with the trans community. And again, as an ally of the LGBT community, as someone who looks and supports gays against groomers, the LGBT community is under attack. They are being invaded by selfish people, by people who want to be famous, by people like Audrey Hale who think they are the most important person. See, this all stems from a social media problem, and we can go back to when something like this was invented, an iPhone. And the ability to get on these social media apps and apps like Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, all of these that promote horrible, horrible things at times. Some people use them responsibly, and I have no problem if you enjoy using Instagram to take pictures of flowers. to take pictures of things, or even to be an influencer. But the problem with what we have done and gone to the influencer, this is a mental health issue. These people think they're more important and they want to be famous. Audrey Hale wanted to be famous. But Audrey Hale, I believe, and I am not a journalist, even though I work for Atlanta's only news and talk station, and yes, I read the news while I do my show, and I do that, but I'm an opinionist. And my opinion is that Audrey Hale thought she was more important, and her message was more important than the lives of these people. These people that she took in cold blood. She took in cold blood. Why? It is my opinion that she took those lives because it was a political message. A message that she went to that school. A message that she may not have felt like Audrey Hale, that she felt like Aiden Hale. But that's not who you are. You are a biological female that never got the help that you needed. I am located in Georgia, in the mountains of Georgia, because in all honesty, I cannot be around the people of Atlanta. They are out of control. And you can go ahead and think of who I'm talking about, but I'm talking about the entire area, the metro Atlanta area. You people have lost sense. You are no longer providing safety. You are trying to defund our police. Police who risked their own lives yesterday to run into a school with someone who was mentally insane, who she thought was more important than the lives of these children. They risked their lives to save possibly 50, 220 other lives. The sacrifice of the 6 people who died, it's hard to take, but it was a sacrifice. And I'm glad that Audrey Hale ended up dead. I have no apologies, and I'll never apologize to a group like this. I have no apologies for not using the gender name that she chose or however they call it. I have no apologies for what I'm about to show you because I think it's important. That is Audrey Hale. She is lying there after being shot by heroes. Heroes that risk their life every single day for a group of citizens that have no respect for them. No respect for the fact that they put on their uniform, they put on their badge, they get in their police vehicle and not know whether when they stop to take a break, if someone's going to come up and shoot through their windows. Or if they get called to, maybe deliver a warrant and get shot at. You can look at police however you want, but they are Americans like you and me. They are Americans like Audrey Hale, who decided that she was more important and her message was more important. I can almost guarantee you in her manifesto, she was upset about Tennessee passing a law to protect the children just like the ones that she murdered. If you want to change your gender, when you become 18, in fact, I think you should wait till you're 25, because children are fluid. And when they are children, from kindergarten to 6th grade, they are thinking about one thing: seeing their friends at school, behaving, maybe playing after school, or watching their favorite cartoon. The last thing they're thinking about is their sexuality. Your son may want to be a pirate. Your son may want to be a Dalmatian. It doesn't mean that you all of a sudden say, hey, we're going to get you a tail and some big floppy ears, and we're going to tattoo a bunch of spots on you and let you run around. We allow them to grow up. We allow them to dream, to be whatever they want to be. And when they turn 18 and they're on their own, they have every right to make those kind of decisions. but the decision will not be made by a bunch of teachers in our schools. And Audrey, if you feel like that this school did not respect your feelings, well, I'm sorry. But you have no right to walk in that school and shoot those children. You have no right to shoot the doors open to get into that school. Your political message may have been that guns are too violent. So what do? You use the same weapons to massacre children? We are a misguided country at times, and I am sick and tired of watching our children die. I fear every day for my 12-year-old son, and I know many of you feel for your children and fear that there's one person who thinks they're more important like anyone else, like Audrey Hale. She thought she was. And she thought she was doing something because, you know what? Suicide by cop, seeing that she was suicidal, was a risk she was willing to take. As much as I would have loved to seen this person studied, I don't need to have a study to know that she was a lunatic, that she was mentally insane. And before you go and say that we need to keep guns out of people's hands, or that assault rifles, AR stands for assault rifle, and most of you who are watching this now know that that is not the truth. The truth of the matter is this. This woman has a mental issue, as many Americans do. It wasn't the weapon she chose. It was the mind she had. It was the mental ability that she lost. See, you can see a BLM member who puts up hate about white on his Facebook page and then gets in a car and drives through a Christmas parade. It wasn't the car. It was him. And I'm not going to just sit here and blame Democrats. I saw it in Charlottesville with a Trump conservative. See, just because they pick a political party that they align with most of the time, these people do not represent the entire party. I've met a lot of great Democrat leaders. None of them would ever do anything like this or be acceptable of anything like she did. I'm glad she's dead. I will not apologize for that as well. She deserved to die a violent death. She deserves to be in a closed casket. She deserves to be thrown into a ditch, and that's about it. I have no respect for her because she had no respect for the lives of these people. This is a hard thing for a lot of us to take. This isn't the Democrats. This isn't all trans people. This most certainly is not the LGB members that I know. Because today, they are mourning the loss of these people. They are not mourning Audrey Hale. They are not mourning her at all. And I will not mourn her. I will mourn them. And I will mourn every child and every person in the low-income cities that are destroyed by Democrats every single day. The lives that are taken because we are out of control, because we are being divided by a Biden administration that doesn't care about anything but what box you can check. They want to divide us. They want to use this in any political way that they possibly can. And they will. And I will not stand for it, and I hope you won't too. Violence has got to stop. I am very lucky that I found out that I wanted to live in the mountains. Because to me, there's only one thing I want in life, and that is to be happy with the woman I love and the children that are in my lives. Or in my life. That's important to me. The fact that I have land. The fact that I have a pond that's stocked with fish. Right outside this window, I can look and I can see ducks in my pond. I have fresh water flowing from the top of the mountain on the land that I own, the land that will not be taken away from me, and I will defend it with my Second Amendment right, and that will not change. Because if there's one thing I know, the Second Amendment is the most important amendment. I have said it before. When the founding fathers wrote our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, they knew that we were doing something that was never done before. A government for the people, by the people. A government where the people could speak out no matter how they felt, which I'm still okay with, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. You are more than welcome to open your mouth and speak. You are more than welcome to have the freedom of thought. And the only way we have to protect your freedom of thought, your freedom of speech, is the freedom and the right to bear arms. We can be responsible gun owners, and I will tell you right now, the ones that are worried about the Second Amendment being taken away are the ones who have never brandished a weapon at another person, are the ones that keep their weapons because they need them. The other thing about living in the mountains where I live, that most people who live in a city will never understand, and the reason that I have an AR-15 or a rifle of any kind is because when you have livestock, when you have chickens, so that you can, afford eggs, when the government takes away energy and you have to live off of your land and protect your livestock, when 20 Russian hogs come running down a mountain to destroy everything in their path, including you, you better have more than one bullet. You better have enough for a pack of 20. Because otherwise you, your children, your cattle, your chickens, they will never make it, and neither will you. Again, this has nothing to do with guns. Here in Georgia, SB 520 is a bill about mental health. It's an important bill, and it's being held up by a bunch of pork, by a bunch of sausage. And those are Republicans that are holding it up because they want to put in SB 99, which is a bill for rural hospitals. It's an important bill itself and can stand by itself. But right now, we have to fix our youth. And if you think this isn't your kid or they're not dealing with these kind of feelings, well, you better start talking to them. Because we locked them out of school. We made them, forced them to wear masks when they didn't need to. We forced vaccines on them. Not we, one certain group. But we all fell in line. We've all been obedient to people that we should never have to be obedient to. They're no better than any of us. I get more information from a plumber, from a landscaper, from somebody working at one of the local stores than I do any of these politicians. I have a lot of friends that are politicians. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Brian Kemp. I could name a bunch. I have talked to some of the biggest people and biggest names in politics, and none of them are any smarter than you or me. None of them offer me anything more than you do, or I offer myself. Stop allowing them to control you. Stop allowing them to make you obedient. Stop allowing them to divide us. Because when it comes down to it, I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're Asian. I don't care if you're white. I don't care if you're Jewish, gay, straight. Don't care. You want the same thing. You want to live your 80 to 100 years, hopefully, and be happy. You want to own and have pride in your land. And you don't want things taken away from you because you're willing to speak out. speak out against these kind of things. Somebody who was so mentally disturbed and so suicidal because they've been told that if they just decide that they are going to change their gender, that they're accepted somewhere. Because Jane Fonda can go on The View and say they need to murder people. And she's not the only one. Maxine Waters has called for violence. Nancy Pelosi has called for violence. Chuck Schumer almost got a Supreme Court justice assassinated. We have to stop them from dividing us. We have to stop them from creating fear so that we don't end up with our child like this too. But more importantly, so these people who went to school hoping to have a wonderful day can come home to their loving families. Please take time to share this video. Please take time to like and subscribe to our channel. If you see me on Twitter, follow me at Rhino, Rhino Xtra 1063. And you can laugh that my name is Rhino and I talk politics because I am a Republican name only. I'm an American and I will always be and love this country. I will defend my family and I will defend this country if I have to. And I will defend you. No matter if you think you're a woman or a man or who you sleep with or what the color of your skin or your religion is, if I am there and your life is in danger, I will do my best to defend you because you're an American. National pride, religion, those are the goals of the Democrats to remove from us. It's their first step towards socialism. But the most important one is to remove your right to bear arms. And these kind of situations cannot be used politically. We need to get to the bottom of why someone who thinks there's something else are so angry that a state decides we need to protect our children and make sure when they turn 18, then they can make their decisions. A person who's so angry that I own a gun and can't understand that I have a assault rifle or an AR-15 to defend the livestock that they eat or to defend my family. I'm sorry you don't understand it. I'm sorry you grew up differently. But you have just the same rights I do. And they're all guaranteed by one thing, and that's the Constitution of the greatest country in the world. So do not let this slip away. Pray for these people. Pray for their families. Pray for the family of her. Because they are feeling a guilt. Her friends are probably feeling some kind of guilt that they didn't see this, that they didn't ask how they were doing. But before we decide, after one therapy session, that this person should transition, let's work on the deep-seated mental issues these people have first. I'm Scott Rhino, and this is the Rhino Conspiracy.